everyone, the idea for this video was left in my comments recently, and I loved it right away. I hope you like how I made the idea a reality, and thank you for leaving this suggestion. Now on to the video. It's the week before the class's second UA school festival. They had of course put a lot of pressure on themselves to do something incredible after blowing the whole school away with their concert last year, but knowing they couldn't do the same thing, they decided to put on a stage play. The concept and characters had been settled immediately, and they'd been non-stop practicing for almost a month now, until the week before the final performance. The ending is missing something. We've been practicing it this way for weeks. You can't change it now? What do you think's wrong with it? I slay the beast and the village lives happily ever after. It's basic and boring. Yes? Where's the big thrill, the shock, and wow factor? I thought slaying the beast was the wow factor. Maybe the princess could marry her best friend at the end? Oh Chako-chan, it's a medieval story. You have to marry the prince. They could kiss? That would be something. People don't expect the cast to kiss in a high school play. I can't kiss Deku-kun. It's just acting, right? It's weird to make them kiss when she literally has a girlfriend. It's just to make our play better. We want to make it a great show, right? I don't mind Ochako-chan, it's not like I think you'd mean anything by it. Of course not. I don't even want to at all. Can't we think of something else? Yeesh, poor Deku, being rejected so bluntly. Kami, don't make it sound like that. I would really rather think of something else too. You are the prince. Of course the prince would kiss the princess at the end. Sigh, I do wanna be the best class again like last year. If you guys really think it'll make the ending better, then I'll do it. But, come on Deku, it's just a tiny little kiss. Are you a wimp? No? Fine, we'll do it. Can we maybe not practice that part though? Just do it once on the night? Kissing over and over for practice will only make it weirder. Yes, please. Fine, you don't have to practice, thanks you guys. Can the stable boy kiss someone at the end? We're just background characters, bro. You don't get that limelight. I've never kissed anyone before. I don't know how to, but I can't say that. I don't want to do it wrong and ruin the whole play. I'll embarrass myself. And you, Urika? We've practiced enough today, right? I'm so tired of holding all these props. Yeah, we're done for now. Great job everyone. We'll figure out how to implement the kiss tomorrow, but won't make you actually do it. Thanks, Mina. Deku felt himself panicking as everyone began to leave, really letting it sink in that a week from now he'll be having his first kiss with one of his friends on stage in front of the whole school. There must be a way to practice. Are you alright, Midoriya? Oh, yeah. I think I left something backstage, gonna go look for it. Did you want some help? No, I'll be alright. Thanks. Todoroki nodded with a small smile before following behind everyone else as they left, leaving Deku alone to head backstage and look around. Mannequins? If I can borrow one, I can practice kissing. God, that's so embarrassing. He headed round to the group of mannequins and found one that was just a torso and head, figuring it would be easier to carry to his dorm discreetly than a whole body. I can't just carry it through the halls though. If anyone sees me, how the heck do I explain that? I'll have to go out back and round, through the window. He took a deep breath and grabbed the mannequin, praying that nobody would see him as he snuck out the back door and rushed round to the dorms, jumping up through his window and immediately sighing in relief. I'm crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this. Despite immediately having regrets due to severe embarrassment, he knew that messing up the kiss on stage would be a million times worse, so he shut out his insecurities and set the mannequin up on his desk. I don't even know where to start. There has to be tutorials online. I'm good at learning. He got his phone out and opened an incognito tab, getting his earbuds and putting them in as he played a kissing tutorial video. The most important thing to remember when kissing someone is to always gauge their reactions, make sure they're responsive and always comfortable. Well, that's not helpful. This thing has no feelings. After getting the disclaimers out the way, the tutorial finally became insightful, and Deku found himself intently watching and listening to the advice given on how to start the kiss, the position of your lips and where to place your hands. So when it finally came time to press his lips onto the mannequins, he wasn't awkward at all. It was just him and a plastic person alone in his room, with nothing but the sound of the tutorial playing as he experimented the different ways to kiss. He practiced for only about 10 minutes, before he was way too embarrassed to continue for the night, so he instead got some studying done before heading to bed. The next day he knew everyone was practicing later in the afternoon, so he decided he would spend the whole morning learning how to kiss with the mannequin. He had found more tutorials and felt a little more comfortable with it this time, so he sat at the desk, earbuds in, and got to work, as though he were the only person in the world. Which is why he had no idea someone was knocking on his door. Oi Deku? Nerd, I know you're in there, I'm coming in. Bakugo opened the door with a mad frown plastered to his face, before immediately freezing in shock. Deku had his back to the door, but Bakugo could clearly see his lips planted on the mannequins, and the video playing on the phone propped up beside him. What the fuck? He heard more voices coming, so snapped out of his trance and turned to close the door behind him, before looking back to Deku, his eyes locking onto his lips and how cushiony soft they looked pressed against the cold white plastic. Damn, gotta add this to my mental catalog of times you looked incredible. He watched for just a moment longer before he started to feel bad. Poor Deku had no idea he was being watched. Of course it would be embarrassing, so he should make his presence known before Deku notices him. So he shook his head and marched toward the boy, pulling his earbuds out and making him jump up in pure terror. Ka-chan? What are you doing in here? I came to drop off your costume. Yomomo finished making it. I wasn't doing anything? Right. Deku took one look at the way Bakugo stood there, arms crossed and brow raised as if to say, you can't bullshit your way out of this one, and flopped onto his bed with a groan. Did you really see everything? What, you making out with that hunk of plastic? Totally. I swear I have a good reason I'm not a freak. I don't think any explanation would make you not sound like a freak. I have to practice. He looked into Bakugo's eyes with such strong conviction that it made the blonde boy think for a moment. He decided to actually take this seriously and so sat onto Deku's desk chair and clasped his hands together. And why would that be? Because I don't want to mess up my kiss with Eureka on stage. I guess that makes sense, but it's just one kiss, why would you mess it up? Because I've never kissed anyone before. I don't know how to kiss. It's not like you have to make out with her, you're making it sound way more difficult than it is. I don't care if you think it's easy, Ka-chan, I need to practice. Well, practicing on a mannequin isn't going to help anyway. Huh, why? It doesn't even kiss back, it'll be nothing like the real thing, there's no way you'll get any better just by plastering your lips onto that lifeless thing. Well, what should I do? I don't want to ruin the play. I can't have you ruining the play either. Our class was easily the best last year. We can't have those shitty extras thinking we lost our mojo. Exactly, can't you think of something? Bakugo sat back and looked up in thought as Deku stared at him, begging with just the desperate look in his eyes, completely oblivious to the way the blonde boy was trying to hide his devious grin. This is the perfect opportunity, he's desperate for me, he needs me more than ever, and I never want to lose, I have the perfect setup. I think our only option is for me to help you practice. Well, yes please, but how? By having you kiss me. Did you just say I would kiss you? Yeesh, chill out, it's not that crazy. It's insane. I will not let our class put on a shitty play, I cannot let you ruin it. Therefore you have to become comfortable enough to ace that kiss on the night, so you have no choice but to practice with me. I can't let you practice with a mannequin, it won't make you improve at all. But, I can't kiss you? Why not? What's wrong with me? It's not that. It's, why would you ever want to kiss me? Bakugo rolled his eyes with a sigh, standing up and moving to sit opposite Deku on his bed as the boy's eyes widened and he leaned back in fear. It's not about wanting to, it's about refusing to lose. You would kiss me, just so we put on a good play? Whatever it takes. Deku stayed silent for a moment, his heart racing as Bakugo showed zero signs of joking or hesitation. He was really serious, and despite being terrified, Deku was even more terrified of what would happen if he turned Bakugo's offer down now. Then I guess, if you think it's for the best for all of us, definitely. Deku completely freaked out as Bakugo's devilish smirk drew closer to him, and his hand reached up to hold his jaw. Whoa, wait, you're kissing me right now? Yup, I'll go easy on you for the first one, close your eyes, nerd. Deku tried to slow his breathing but his heart would not slow down, so he did as he was asked, scrunching his eyes closed in nervous anticipation. Until he felt Bakugo's lips press against his own, he did nothing, he just sat there with their lips together until the blonde boy pulled back and laughed. You really are hopeless. Deku slapped his hands to his face to hide his bright red cheeks, peeking through his fingers at the boy who just gave him his first kiss. I can't believe that just happened, my childhood friend and rival was my first kiss. You can't even call that a kiss, come on. Huh? But you kissed me, you definitely did. Our lips touched. It was basically no different than kissing the mannequin. You didn't tell me what to do, so I just did nothing. Not my fault. Well, I'm sorry for assuming you knew a little more than you let on. We'll have to practice a lot if you don't wanna embarrass yourself. I know, if you're really sure you don't mind helping me, then I promise I'm on board. I'll try my best. That's the spirit. Today I'll show you the basics, I guess. I'm gonna kiss you again. This time try to relax your lips. Don't press them together so tightly. Okay, is that all? Clearly you need to take baby steps with this. DEKU took a deep breath and closed his eyes again, focusing on keeping his lips completely relaxed, just delicately closing them and waiting. This time when their lips pressed together, he felt how soft it was, how Bakugo's lips encapsulated his own, and how there was a little bit of suction as he pulled back. Oh, that was an improvement. It felt nice. Does that count as my first kiss? Sure, yeah, you had your first kiss. My first kiss was Ka-chan. Did you want it to be someone more special? Well, I guess I never thought I'd kiss anyone unless I was dating them, but in these circumstances, I'm glad it's you. Bakugo's eyes widened and he felt his cheeks heating up as he looked into DEKU's adorable sparkling eyes, and it only made him want to kiss him again. Last one for today, just do the same again. Okay. DEKU already seemed less nervous, but as he closed his eyes and Bakugo reached up to cup his cheek, he subconsciously parted his lips a little in shock, which Bakugo immediately made the most of. He latched his lips to DEKU's lower one, feeling the freckled boy instinctively close his mouth over his top lip, fitting them together perfectly as Bakugo tilted his head a little and brushed his cheek with his thumb. He felt DEKU's lips trembling as he pulled back, this time feeling the suction reciprocated as they parted with a quiet smacking sound. What was that? That was so different from the last ones. What did I do? Bakugo had to take a moment. His heart was thumping in his chest and he couldn't look DEKU in the eyes. He was so confident and excited going into this, but now he was realizing it was basically a form of self-torture. How are you so good at this, Ka-chan? I'm good at everything. Why would this be any different? He must have kissed so many people before me. That's why he knows so much about what makes a good kiss. Kissing him is only going to make my feelings so much fucking worse, and I've convinced him it's just practice. He's not gonna feel shit. Can we do it like that again? I feel like that's the right type of. We're out of time today. I was supposed to just give you your costume and bring you down to the hall with everyone. They've started practice early. Oh, okay, I'll just get changed and we can go then. I'll wait outside. They headed to practice with everyone like nothing had happened, like they hadn't just kissed each other multiple times and they were still the same old pair of rivals. What took you so long? We could barely practice anything without the lead. None of your business. I was on the phone with my mom, so I asked Ka-chan to wait a bit. Sorry guys. That's alright, DEKU-kun. I hope she's well. Bakugo watched as DEKU acted completely normal, getting right into character and practicing his lines. And he couldn't help feeling annoyed that the kisses weren't affecting him in some way. I'll just have to kiss him even better tomorrow. Tomorrow came and everyone was practicing early again, except DEKU, who was late once more. Bakugo, could you go get him again? Why me? All your scenes with someone else are with him, so you can't practice at all without him anyway. I can practice my solo scene? We're not starting from that far into the story. The first scene has like everyone else in it. Just go get him. It might take a while if they're alone. Alright, I'm going. Bakugo shot a glare in Todoroki's direction before storming out the room. However, despite his show of frustration, he was secretly rejoicing inside at the prospect of getting to sneak more of their alone time practice in. He was so excited that he wasn't thinking clearly, and didn't stop to knock before barging into DEKU's dorm. The moment the door revealed what was behind it, Bakugo froze and his jaw dropped. Ka-chan? Why didn't you knock? Why are you kissing the mannequin again? Oh my god, don't yell it like that. Everyone is waiting in the practice hall for you anyway. I can yell all I want. Oh, I didn't know we were practicing early again. That's not the point here. What are you doing kissing that thing? I was too embarrassed to ask you for help. I just wanted to practice by myself for a little bit. How are you too embarrassed to ask for help but not embarrassed to be making out with a plastic head? Well, nobody was supposed to know. It's not embarrassing if nobody knows. Sigh. Well, they asked me to come and get you, so come on. Wait, but Ka-chan, I need to practice. You do? Yes? Okay, what do you want me to do about it? Ka-chan. Bakugo crossed his arms and stared at Deku, waiting for him to give in and ask for help. Please, can you help me practice kissing? Fine. We have 5 minutes. Thank you. He excitedly grabbed Bakugo's hands and pulled him back over to the bed to sit opposite each other again, before closing his eyes and waiting with puckered lips. Pfft. Huh, what's funny? Izuku, you'll be kissing Yurika, right? Yes. So when you're on stage, are you going to close your eyes and wait for her to kiss you? Oh, no, I guess not. You have to be the one to take the lead. I told you I would make it easy for you at first. That was yesterday, today it's in your hands. I see. Well, I'll try my best. He looked into Bakugo's eyes nervously, leaning closer ever so slowly, until he panicked and jumped back again. I can't kiss you with your eyes open too? All right, I'll close them. He did as he said and sat in the silence, patiently waiting as Deku presumably built up the courage to kiss him. Unbeknownst to the blonde boy, however, Deku was just watching him, his wide innocent eyes scanning Bakugo's calm features as his heart thumped in his ears. He never got to see him like this, so he wanted to make the most of it. We're running out of time, nerd. Right? Okay, I'm gonna do it now. He took a deep breath before leaning forward, and rapidly pressing his lips onto Bakugo's, pulling back just as fast. Bakugo kept his eyes shut for a moment longer, feeling a frown settle on his brow in disbelief, before finally looking Deku in the eye again. That's it? Was it bad? Sigh, look, nobody is expecting you to go full-tongue make-out session on stage, but it's gonna have to have at least a little passion behind it. In the context of the play, you've just saved the entire village, and more importantly the princess who you're clearly falling in love with. You're kissing for the first time. It wouldn't just be two mouths touching for a moment. Well, I don't know how to do the fancy stuff you did yesterday. I barely even scratched the surface yesterday. I'm screwed. Please, can you show me just one more time? No can do. We're out of time. He was just about to stand off the bed, but Deku grabbed him in frustration, tugging him down by his shirt and kissing him strongly. Latching their lips together and trying his best to remember how it felt yesterday, adding some suction over Bakugo's bottom lip as he slowly pulled back and shyly opened his eyes. How did I do? Bakugo blinked in shock, feeling his cheeks heat up before he cleared his throat, stood up and turned toward the door. Better, but you still have a long way to go. Deku grinned widely and cheered in silence before racing after Bakugo excitedly. I'll get better, I swear. No more practicing with that stupid mannequin. Right? My lips are for you alone? Well, until Eureka. Right. Hours later they were finally done for the day, and Bakugo was just making his way out the hall with the guys when Deku came rushing after him calling his name. Ka-chan, wait. What? I was just wondering if maybe we could do a little more of our other practice? What other practice? No, nothing. Just like training and shit, you know? Woo, could I join you? No? You guys were gonna play games today. You can't ditch Dunce Face when I already am. Well, hang on, what if I wanna join too? You don't, you're just being nosy. You never wanna train. If you wanna train alone, that's fine, Bakugo, I don't mind. You make everything seem like such a big deal. Well, it's not, we're just training, so, bye. Bakugo huffed and dragged Deku in the opposite direction by his wrist, the shorter boy's legs desperately trying to keep up as he grinned excitedly. Thanks, Ka-chan. Don't thank me, dumbass. Deku's eyes widened as Bakugo suddenly tugged him into the boy's bathroom, grabbing him by the shirt and glaring at him angrily. You can't just bring up our practice in front of everyone like that. But I didn't say what it was, I thought it would be fine. Dunce Face is nosy as hell. You could tell he didn't believe my bullshit excuse. He'll keep bugging me about it now. Well, what would be so bad about them knowing anyway? We're only practicing, and besides it's only embarrassing for me. I'm the freak who doesn't know how to kiss anyone. You're not a freak. I am. You can kiss so perfectly, meanwhile I'm just as useless as the stupid mannequin. Deku was getting extremely worked up, and seeing those frustrated tears pooling in his precious eyes made Bakugo move without thinking. He leant in and pressed their lips together desperately, pinning Deku's back against the tiled wall and letting their mouths mold perfectly to one another. It wasn't like their other kisses. Deku was reciprocating mindlessly as their lips moved in sync, softly caressing the others as their breaths mingled and hands gripped clothes. Until finally Bakugo pulled back, looking into Deku's wide eyes as they panted, before stepping back and looking away with his fists balled. We're still just practicing. He was cut off by the sound of a toilet flushing, and both of their hearts jumped into their throats as they turned and stared at the clearly occupied stall, until the door opened and Todoroki stepped out, not even looking their way as he went to wash his hands. They stared in silence as he dried them with paper towels, threw them away and made his way to the door, before looking up to make eye contact with Deku. "Good afternoon, Midoriya." He bowed his head and continued walking until Bakugo grabbed him by his shirt and pulled him away from the door. "What the hell are you doing?" I was just peeing." "Why weren't you peeing at the urinal like a normal person?" "I can't pee in the open, it's not safe." "Ugh, you're infuriating." "I apologize." "Todoroki-kun, what exactly did you hear?" "Well, I finished peeing and was about to leave, but suddenly the door burst open and you began arguing about a secret kissing practice of sorts, and that Midoriya doesn't know how to kiss, and then you kissed, I think, based on the sounds, and how Bakugo clarified it was just practice afterwards, and that was when I decided I would no longer be interrupting if I left the stall." "You should have interrupted immediately." "I was too interested in your conversation about secrets that I forgot I was not supposed to be a part of it, and then the timing just seemed too off." He stopped talking as Bakugo raised a hand and charged an explosion in his face, but Deku rushed forward to grab his arm in panic and pull the two boys apart. "There's no need for that, Ka-chan. It's not his fault." "Look, Todoroki-kun, could you please just promise not to tell anyone what happened in here?" "Sure, can I leave now?" "Listen, half and half, I will literally blow up your nutsack if I find out you said a single word to anyone about any of this." "I already said I wouldn't." "Well, you better not." "Thank you, Todoroki-kun, I owe you." Deku ushered him out the room as Bakugo glared and continued to hold his hands up threateningly, until the shorter boy turned to him with a confused frown and tilt of his head. "What was that kiss about, Ka-chan?" Nothing, it was just practice." "But you said I wouldn't have to kiss like that on stage." "Look, I can't practice anymore today, sorry." Bakugo could feel himself beginning to shake with nerves and rushed out the bathroom before Deku could question him further. The freckled boy didn't bother calling after him. He knew he needed space, but also because he was partially frozen in place, heart pounding and mind spinning as he reimagined the kiss. He reached up to touch his lips, subconsciously smiling giddily as he let it all sink in, before hurriedly making his way back to his dorm. Without hesitation, he pulled his phone out and searched for more kissing tutorials, but this time searching deeper, for kisses more like the one he just had. He found himself blushing as he watched, imagining himself kissing Bakugo like that, before it all got too much for him and he shut his phone off, heading to his desk to study in hopes of clearing his mind. The entire time the class was practicing lines the next day, Deku was completely unfocused. All he could do was stare at Bakugo and daydream about kissing him. But the blonde boy was still freaked out after yesterday, so he was completely avoiding Deku each time he happened to end up nearby him. When practice was finally over, Bakugo immediately began rushing out the hall toward the dorms, trying to pretend he couldn't hear Deku calling his name, but the freckled boy wasn't having it. "Ka-chan, what's wrong?" "Wait, Ka-chan? We're not practicing today." "Why not?" "I thought you didn't want me ruining the play." "You know how to kiss now, we're done." "I could still be better. I learned new stuff with tutorials last night, please let me show you." "No, Izuku, I'm busy." Deku frowned and huffed, catching Bakugo off guard by suddenly pulling him into the supply closet they were walking by. "Oi, what are you doing?" He was cut off as Deku reached up and kissed him strongly, remembering the tutorial he watched and how Bakugo had kissed him in the bathroom. Before long, Bakugo was eagerly reciprocating, running his hands into Deku's hair and tilting his head back to kiss him deeper, and that's when he pressed his tongue between Deku's lips. His eyes shot open in shock before instantly rolling back as their tongues brushed together and his knees went weak below them. He held on to Bakugo for dear life as the boy ravaged his mouth, whining as he bit down on his lips, and the air in the cramped supply closet got thick and warm, their ears filled with the symphony of Deku's gasps and hums and their lips smacking. When they finally parted, Bakugo had to hold Deku up, his knees were buckling and his hands were shaking. "Fuck, are you alright?" "Hehe, I won't be kissing Yurika like that." Bakugo exhaled a laugh, shaking his head as he looked up at the ceiling, before realization sunk in and he frowned down at the pretty boy. His cheeks were red and his lips were swollen, eyes dazed with a content smile. "Why did you kiss me like that if you knew it wasn't for practice?" "I couldn't stop thinking about it after you kissed me in the bathroom. All I want to do is kiss you more and never stop. Their hearts were pounding and the tension in the air was palpable, but finally, instead of getting overwhelmed and avoiding what he wanted inside, Bakugo cupped Deku's cheeks and gently leaned down to kiss him again. It was short and sweet before he pulled back to look into his eyes with sincerity. You're a really fast learner, and I want to kiss you more too, all the time. Deku's eyes were sparkling with hopeful desire as he reached up, wrapping his arms over Bakugo's shoulders and kissing him once more. Their bodies pressed together in the tight space as their tongues mingled, and Bakugo's thumb stroked circles into the smooth skin of Deku's waist. They kissed until they were dizzy from the heat and lack of oxygen in the tiny room, and poor Deku couldn't possibly stand up straight anymore. You wanna come back to my dorm? Please. Bakugo wiped his mouth and fixed Deku's hair a little, both of them brushing down their clothes and catching their breaths, before he pushed the door open only to hear a loud bonk. Ah shit, ouch. Kami? Dumbass, what are you doing? Look, it's not my fault. I was just walking by but I could literally hear Deku whimpering, and kissing sounds. You expect me not to stop and listen? Yes? Obviously you're not supposed to listen, pervert. I knew you two were into each other, it was so obvious. Kami, please don't tell anyone. What, why? Because, we're not even dating or anything? He just needs to practice for the play. You're planning on making out with Yurika on stage like that? No? So you were making out not for practice then? I swear to God, am I going to have to threaten your nuts as well? As well? Someone else caught you? You guys really suck at this, huh? Maybe you should just tell everyone you like making out. Totally no judgment here. It sounded hot. Kami? We're leaving. If you say a word, I'll say goodbye to my nuts, got it? Bakugo continued to glare even as Deku dragged him away, thanking Kaminari for his silence. Have fun making out. Shut up. Over the next few days leading up to the festival, Bakugo and Deku could barely stay away from each other. At every free moment they were sneaking into closed spaces to kiss until their lungs burned for oxygen. And yet, despite so clearly expressing their desperate need for one another, they still had yet to explicitly confess their deeper feelings. The day of the festival finally came, and the class's performance was to be held in the afternoon, so they had the morning to enjoy the rest of the school's activities. Hey, you want some cotton candy? OMG yes please. You two are so cute. Cause I'm buying him fluffy sugar for 100 yen? It's not the gift itself, it's the fact you're buying anything at all for Deku. You can shut up. I'm sure Ka-chan would buy you guys cotton candy too, right? Nah dude, we're not as special as you. You just want free shit? Fine, take the stupid cotton candy. Thanks Bakubro. Hey Deku. Hi Yurika. What's up? Are you sure you're going to be okay in the performance later? For our kiss? Oh, he'll be totally fine. You must be an incredible kisser, Deku, am I right? No, I mean, yeah, I can kiss. I'll be fine. I'm nothing great though. I'm sure you are, Midobro, don't be so humble. Have confidence, right? What do you think, Bakugo? They turned to the blonde boy who was glaring at Kaminari with literal daggers in his eyes, but he was unfazed with his smug smile. Like Dun's face said, you're good at most things, so, you got this. Kami huffed as his attempt to rile Bakugo up failed, but Yurika seemed to smile in relief. If you're comfortable with it, then I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's put on our best show later, right guys? Of course. They cheered before she headed back to the girls, but as Kaminari looked around he suddenly realized Bakugo and Deku were gone too. Sigh, and they're gone again. Bakugo had pulled Deku around the back of one of the food stalls, amongst some bushes, and hidden away from all the students enjoying the festival. Why did you bring me here, Ka-chan? I wanted to ask you away from everyone else, if you're really okay with the kiss? Well, that's what all our practice was for. I'll just kiss Yurika like this. He stepped forward and cupped Bakugo's jaw, kissing him softly, sweetly. It felt so natural and real, before pulling back with a wobbly smile. And it'll be an amazing performance? Sigh, yeah, you'll do perfect. Are you okay? Of course, why wouldn't I be? I don't know, maybe you don't want me to kiss her? That's ridiculous. We practiced all this time just for that moment. There's no way I would. It wasn't just practice, Ka-chan. Well, maybe sometimes we got carried away, but... Carried away? So you didn't want to kiss me like that? No, of course I did, but it didn't mean anything to you? That's not what I said at all. I get it, Ka-chan. Don't worry about it. Our performance is today and then you'll never have to kiss me again. Deku ran off before Bakugo could stop him, and he didn't want to chase him through the crowd and make such a huge scene, so instead he just stood there, regretting ever even pulling him aside. Of course he wanted to kiss DEKU even after the show. He was stupid for not just telling him how he felt from the start, but either way, the plan was always for him to kiss Yurika on that stage. It won't even mean anything, they're characters in a play, who cares if he kisses her? Fuck, I care because I don't want anyone else to get the chance to feel his perfect lips on their own. I was his first kiss, I wanna be the only one, I have to be the only one. Later in the day the class had all gathered backstage to wait for their audience to arrive. Bakugo and DEKU were still avoiding each other, stood on opposite ends of the room, and a few students were gathered on some boxes in the middle. You know, after yesterday's last run-through of the show, don't you guys feel like this whole story has a massive flaw? What massive flaw? Don't say that now, it's way too late to change anything. I know, I'm sorry, I wasn't saying we could change it anyway. I just feel like the prince doesn't really have that many scenes with the princess, right? And then by the end we're just supposed to believe they're in love? Ugh. Well, there's parts of the narration that refer to the time they've spent together away from what we show on stage. It's more than some stories give. Besides, they're supposed to have chemistry to make it believable, but we all know how that's going. The prince has more chemistry with the villain than the princess. They all looked back and forth between Bakugo and DEKU. Despite being stood on complete opposite ends of the room from one another, they were both wistfully staring into the other's eyes. Sigh, the whole story is a mess. Well, it makes sense, they have chemistry on stage with what they're doing off stage. The moment the words left his mouth, Todoroki's heart dropped and he looked down in fear. What do you mean by that? I have no idea what you're talking about. But I think I know what you mean, so you should just say it. You can't know, nobody knows. But I do know. Well then why don't you tell me what you know? I can't, because what if you don't know? What the hell are you two even talking about? About how Bakugo and DEKU have been. Icy hot, dunce face. The two boys immediately jumped up from their boxes as Bakugo stormed toward them with his hands sparking. My nuts? My nutsack? Mina and Kiri looked to each other in confusion, before suddenly Aizawa entered the room and immediately sighed as though he was already done with them all. Your audience are about to be led inside, make sure you're ready, and break a leg. Bakugo, stop chasing them, come on everyone, get ready for the opening scene. Aoyama, you're up. Their performance started off incredibly, everything was going perfect, nobody stumbled their lines or missed stage directions, and the audience seemed to be super engaged. After the weeks the prince spent in the village, it was finally time for him to continue what he had set out to accomplish. Prince Midoriya, for your arduous journey ahead, I shall provide you with my head knight's most magnificent steed. Should you return successful from your mission, with the head of the heinous beast that has been terrorizing our village, I shall gift you my blessing, for my daughter's hand in marriage. I give you my thanks, your highness, and I swear to you, I will free this wonderful village from that which ails you. Sir Tenya, take the prince to the stables and ensure he leaves fully prepared, on the back of Maximus the Great. Yes, your highness. Ida led DEKU off the stage for a quick scene change, dutifully executed by Toru, who slid the set pieces across the stage to turn the throne room into the stables, where Kota had already mentally asked their stage horse to get into place. Stable boy, good morning, sir. Welcome to the stables. Excuse the smell, I honestly can't tell if it's me or the horses anymore. Nice to meet you. Kaminari, is Maximus well? Of course. When is our best boy ever short of great? Is this the horse I'll be taking with me? Yes, he is strong and loyal, he will be the perfect vessel for your strenuous adventure. Wow dude, you get to take Maximus? Lucky, the princess is so gonna fall for you. The princess? Well, I do hope so. Woo, Princey here has a crush on our magnificent princess. Perhaps, I wish to provide the village with security, and hope to join you here by earning her hand in marriage, at least I think. Why'd he say that? That's not in the script. Ahem, well I wish you the best of luck. Same, totally. And so the dashing prince rode off into the woods in hopes of finding and defeating the beast tamer and his beast. This is nice, right Maximus? You really are terribly good company on a trek such as this one. Oh, what's that? Hang on a moment, Sir Max, I think I see some interesting tracks. DEKU hopped off the horse and headed to his mark on stage, inspecting the tracks, before suddenly getting swept off his feet into a rope trap hanging from the trees. Oh gosh Maximus, whatever will I do? I can't reach my sword. See if you can find some help. As soon as the horse ran off stage, the theater room was filled with the deep echoing of laughter. Hello? Who goes there? My, what a lively catch, and here I was hoping for a mere rabbit today. This one should fill me for a week at least. Excuse me sir, but I'm a human, a prince in fact. DEKU wriggled in the ropes as he looked around desperately for the source of the voice, until a half-clothed man dropped down from above, standing before him with a smug smirk. You won't actually eat me, will you? That depends what my other traps have caught. I can't let myself starve, you know. I just sent my horse away, but when he comes back he has my food supplies. I can share. I suppose I exaggerated how long you'd feed me for anyway. Not much meat on ya. He prodded DEKU's stomach as he hung upside down, making the freckled boy giggle before freezing as Bakugo pulled out a knife. What are you doing? Cutting you down, unless you want to stay in the tree? Oh, no thank you, I would appreciate being set free. In one swoop Bakugo sliced all the ropes, sending DEKU down with a thud, before he stood and brushed himself off. I apologize for setting off your trap. What was your name, sir? What makes you think I would tell you that? All I know of you is that you claim to be a prince. Who's to say what trouble you'll send my way when you return to your kingdom? Oh, I would never. I owe you my life really, sir. If you don't wish to tell me your name I understand, but please do stay with me for a while until my horse returns with your food. You do seem rather remorseful for wasting my trap. Fine, I'll wait. But then you'll be on your way. Good luck getting through these woods alone. What makes you say that? Oh, nothing. Just the deadly beasts round every corner, lurking in the shadows ready to strike when you're vulnerable. Bakugo drew closer to DEKU, circling around him as he spoke gruffly into his ears. It had the audience on edge as the tension between the two grew thicker. Fuck Yuriko, listen to them? The chemistry is off the charts? I'm sorry? I can't fake romance when my girlfriend is right there on stage with me. You don't think I can handle myself? From all I've seen, you have worse odds than an innocent, pure little rabbit. I'm stronger than you think. If you knew why I was sent here you'd realize it. Oh yeah? I assumed you got lost on your way home to Daddy's castle. I'm the hero who will slay the beast that's been terrorizing all the villages. The tension was palpable as the beast tamer finally understood, and his demeanor shifted. The audience was on the edge of their seats, wondering if the prince was done for already. That beast. Have you encountered it before? Perhaps. Never mind about the food. I'm sure I caught plenty in my other traps. Whoa, wait, you're leaving? Yes, and if you knew what was good for you, you would turn around and go back to where you came from. He stormed off stage and DEKU was left in shock as the curtain closed for halftime. It was finally the last scene of the play. DEKU was facing off against the beast, and the more damage it took, the more it seemed as though Bakugo the beast tamer was losing his mind. What's wrong with you? Order the beast to stop. I can't. He collapsed to the ground with black smoke surrounding him. The audience gasped and the prince looked immediately concerned, before turning back to the beast in anger. Did you do this to him? The beast roared and DEKU yelled back, charging at him as their fight continued. The choreographed battle was very thrilling for a school play, and when it was finally over, DEKU having slain the beast by beheading it, the audience cheered. They didn't get long to celebrate before Bakugo began stirring on the ground, preparing to stand, until DEKU rushed over and pinned him back down, sword held to his throat as he lied defenselessly on his back. Wait please. If you'll let me explain. Your eyes. What? DEKU stared down at him for a moment longer, leaving the whole room tense as he seemed to ponder his decision, before sheathing his sword and holding a hand down to help Bakugo up. You're really sparing me? I could tell something was different. Come with me to the village. I can't do that. They all hate me. I would be killed on the spot. The beast had a hold on you, not the other way round, am I right? The audience gasped as Bakugo nodded, looking ashamed, until DEKU placed a hand on his shoulder. Which means none of this was your fault. Come with me to explain to the king. You will be forgiven. You have my word. Okay, I trust you. The prince and the nameless tamer rode Maximus back to the village, chatting idly as the day passed, knowing that finally the land could be at peace. Your Highness, the prince has returned. With the beast tamer. I beg your pardon? He brought that wretched man into my village? King Todoroki? If your Highness could just grant me a moment to explain, I believe you will understand. Father, please let him speak. You know Prince Midoriya wouldn't put us in danger. I will allow it. I beheaded the beast as you asked, and the moment it was dead, this man you know as the tamer, was revealed to me as no tamer at all. It was he who had been enchanted by the beast, filled with darkness and used as a puppet to do its bidding. I'm deeply sorry for all the suffering I have caused. I see, there is no need to apologize. It's clear to me it was not you who caused it at all. Thank you, Sir Midoriya. The reward we discussed before you left has been granted. Oh. Deku turned to look at Yuruka, who was smiling sweetly at him, and froze with hesitation. Sir Midoriya, that means you have his blessing. Yes, I understand. I'm extremely grateful, Your Highness. He bowed his head before gulping and slowly getting down on one knee before the princess, but before he could get a single word out, Bakugo had suddenly rushed between them. What's he doing? That's not in the stage directions? Please, could I ask to speak? Deku blinked in confusion, looking backstage towards Mina, who seemed to be on the brink of passing out from Bakugo's sudden change in script. But he stood up nonetheless, trying to stay in character. Of course, what is it you wish to say? When the beast had control of me, my every sense being shrouded in darkness, the only time I truly felt pieces of myself coming through was when I was with you. Even with all the fear and anger clouding my mind, your pure shining soul pushed it all aside and allowed for me to feel like myself again. Looking into your beautiful eyes that always understood me, saw the good in me despite what everyone said and believed. It's thanks to you in more ways than just slaying the beast, that I've been saved. Deku's eyes were beginning to water. Bakugo's speech felt real, more than just a script, but he held himself together, remembering they were still in front of their whole school. Thank you. Please, may I have a moment to speak with the princess? Bakugo's eyes widened as he stepped aside, suddenly panicking that Deku was going to follow the script and propose regardless. Princess Yuruka, I have truly enjoyed getting to know you since my arrival, and I'm so glad I managed to free you and your beautiful village from the beast, but I hope you will find true love with another. What is the meaning of this? Todo, father. I have been in love with my best friend for years. Mummy? The princess surely can't be in love with her housemaid? Well, I am. And my father cannot decide who I'll marry. I wish to marry her. Thank you, Prince Midoriya, for giving me the courage. Deku grinned before turning back to Bakugo, rushing forward to hold his hands. I always knew you were good deep down. Our fights felt strange, as if I knew you would never hurt me, and I desperately wanted to save you from the pain I could sense within. But also, our rivalry was a little fun, right? Of course. Oh, would you finally tell me your name? Bakugo Katsuki. Sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Fiery name, it suits you well. The audience were cooing sweetly at the pair as they seemed to get lost in their own world, all their words coming straight from the heart. Ahem. I went on this journey to find where I belonged in the world, hoping that I would end up marrying the princess to find my home here. However, I've realized that this life isn't for me. I want to keep adventuring, with you by my side. I would love that more than anything. They were both smiling with rosy cheeks, and before Deku could even comprehend what was happening, Bakugo had wrapped an arm round his back and pulled him close, connecting their lips for a kiss. The audience erupted in gasps and cheers, and Mina was practically screaming backstage as their whole class stared in shock. The curtain fell and they pulled apart, Deku finally remembering where they were and flushing red. We really just kissed in front of everyone? Yup. Come on, you guys, get off the stage. Ready for curtain call. Bakugo tugged the dazed boy backstage, before pulling him in and kissing him sweetly again, looking into his eyes with conviction as the rest of their class filed back onto the stage to bow. I don't want to keep pretending this was all just for the stupid play, because that would mean it has to be over now. I don't want it to end. Exactly, so be my boyfriend. Really? Yes? Okay. Bakugo laughed before pulling him back onto the stage, running down the center together to bow for everyone, and kissing him once more as the curtains closed. The end. OMG, this one feels super all over the place, but I kinda love it. I've been wanting to make a small series focused on the fantasy AU of MHA for a long time now, and this little play made me want to do it even more. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that, not like a play but a real story with those characters from the fantasy ending of Season 2. Also let me know if you liked this video. I think it might be one of my favorites when it comes to my one-part stories. Speaking of which, there will be no more parts to this one. I like it how it is. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I love you.